In 1977, Carnival changed over and had a song called Skankin'. 78, we had Bionic Man, Bionic Woman walking in slow motion, trying to fly up like Superman. We're talking about the children, school children. And 78 went down without a hitch. But by then, I was chosen as the Calypso, president of the Calypso Association. We had an interim committee in 77, and 78, the Calypso Association was organizing everything. In terms of Calypso, the tent, we put the bands together, we put Calypsonians together. We even got musicians to, arrangers to do the writing of all the song, of the music for the Calypso, so we could have a more unified force in terms of dealing with the whole Calypso entity. And 1978 went down well. The Manage became king. Soso sang Calypso for the first time and came second. He was a member of the Climax band, Winston Soso I'm talking about, the late. And we were singing with Climax in the finals. So Climax was in the finals for 1976, 77, and 78.
The Panonic excitement was for Carnival and Christmas because they're on the road, and that was the vibe. And I see something was done to put the Pan back on the road for Christmas, but in our time, it was a spontaneous thing, and Pan was coming on the road before 4 o'clock, and you're making rounds around town because all the bakeries open. So, you know, as children, we did some stupid thing with bakery. Might go in and while I call in somebody pull in two off a sheet or something, you know. Those things happened during them times. But the steel band was exciting. You know, round your neck going round town. When you look at Cardo, Tani, Woodley was the tuner. Ephraim, these guys gone through. All they bring a memory to me that one of us should force to remember. What's the man? But all in all, you are the youths, you have to stay undercover. You do anything, yeah, they humble us from doing it at home and doing what you want. But when you're going on the road, you can't be too close because the big one's pushing you away as a little fella, you know. You mustn't get too close. We try all kind of things to that, but I wanted it. And after Pan Invaders in 60, it went on to 62. We used to have competitions during the year too, in the park on the ground. Right in front of the stand there, the stand by the gate. We used to have competitions there. Sometimes it was done by business people like Mr. McIntosh, Erica McIntosh's father. Yeah. Biscuit McIntosh, right on. He was one of the guys who would sponsor a competition. So I used to go and look and get involved. But I started getting involved with Bertie first because he right by the side of the road on the back over there, just go and look, and we came to go for. When you want something, I will go for it. You understand that kind of way? Because I want to learn something. And then I wasn't learning much, just watching and doing the thing like cutting the drums, making the fire, but the eyes and the ears were doing things, you know. So Lincoln Noel came back to Trinidad in 1967. He went out with the Bonaparte brothers and a steel band from Labrie. They had dancers. That time, steel bands used to be doing dancers, especially with limbo and stuff like that. So when Lincoln came back, he started to tune now in Port of Spain, in Trotman Street. So I said, that nearer to me, because I was living in Trotman Street. So I thought that go by Lincoln. Did I really put my hand in the thing and started to learn this stuff, you know? going down with it. But it wasn't easy at the time, but at the same time it was easy. You know? So therefore I was there between Lincoln and Bertie through the evolution with the song and techniques. Because at that time in the 60s there, you had Beastman, he from up Santa Cruz, and he was making some real bad tenors for Desperados, some high tenors. And in 68, Desperados did the Song the Music album. Yeah. So things started happening, and my eyes started to get big because what I see in here, I didn't leave that in St. Vincent. The depth of the instrument, the flow of the notes, and the textures of song that you started to get. It was so amazing to me that at times you could literally taste it, you know, especially when something go off key, you could see it, taste it, feel it.
My name is Alida Derek Cordis. I'm originally from Dixon's, Georgetown, but I came to reside in Sandy Bay a long time ago. I came to teach there in 1966, and then I settled there in 1971. I'm actually a descendant of the Caribs. On the morning of April 13, 1979, I was still asleep when I heard something like a loud thunder. I immediately woke the children. It was Good Friday, so we were just resting late until it was church time. But then, after hearing the thunder, I said maybe it's going to rain. I never heard thunder on a Good Friday before that. So I woke one of the children. I had clothes outside. I said, run out and pick up the clothes quickly. But I noticed he stayed a long time. That was my oldest son. So I said to him, boy, come inside before the rain wet you, because I heard drops. And then when he came in, he showed me his shirt. He said, Mommy, it's not raining, now look at my shirt. And on his shirt were ash. Because I grew up with an old lady who experienced 1902 eruption, I was alert. I said, boy, this is eruption. And I went outside, I saw what was happening, and immediately I took action. I woke them up, I said, come, we have to get up. We don't know what will happen today, but everybody get up and get dressed, get something to eat. And that's how it started.
I remember in 79, people were running, just running, according to Shaky, into a place of nowhere, where they just decide to get refuge, because nobody at that time expect what would have happened, because we wasn't around in the early days in 1902. So we just had to seek cover and expect what happened. Well, my personal experience is that I was scared, because I never knew about the volcano before, because I wasn't around at the time. So when the stones start to drop and the place become dark, we had to run for cover. So by doing that, we moved into a safe zone. But the night of the volcano, when it erupted, the whole country felt the ash in 1979.
Concerned, I won't say scared, because when I came outside, to be honest, I did not look at the mountainside. It was afterwards I came out and looked again and saw the mountain black. Even the waves on the sea were already gray in color. And that was when I got scared, because I was home alone with them. Their father was overseas. I didn't know what next. I didn't have a radio to give me the update, so I was wondering what next. The next thing I did was I got water inside. The house I live in, one area has concrete roof. So I put everything in the concrete section. My grocery, which I had gotten on Holy Thursday, everything, my food stuff went inside. And that's where I waited to hear what was the next move.
The Prophet Calypso 10 started off with some guys like Gao, we have Prince Eichel, we have Man Anger. I know that there are persons who really wanted to continue showcasing their talent. There might have been guys who have already had their songs together and was ready to get that song out. So I think it was definitely a setback for the culture. But in due respect, you know, we understand what was going on with the volcano.
And we hope that if everything go well in 2022, we could continue to play with players.
You're organizing everybody, but you don't have a song? I said, but wait, I don't have a song in truth. So I went home and organized myself and pull something together. If you look at my song, it deals with some history. It has, you know, history and a little political and a little bit of, you know, that a little bit of the things that kind of make us who we are, or made us who we are. And I decided to. I got my song late. I put it together late, but the idea wasn't far-fetched in terms of you think about the Black Power era, you think about nation building, nationalistic things and so on, and that's how I was able to get that, you know, together and build a feeling around it. And Our Nation is Born is still standing today as something that is good. Some people say excellent. Kudos to the inspiration that some people give me in terms of appreciating the song until now. It's probably worth it, I should say. And I don't want to be blowing my trumpet because many people blow it for me.
Well, everybody don't know how it goes with me. I just an artist in a form. I ain't just mass man. I artist, symmetry, style, everything you want. Well, I still count them 2 years where we ain't had no mass. The reason for that, I still been doing some work. This carnival work now. Been doing work for the churches and thing when Christmas. So I come in, so right now it will be 53 years. I was a dragon. When I start, I was a dragon. Till I go on my own. I play mass with Fuzzy Nights. I play mass with 1 or 2 women like Stella Dreams and them kind of women they I play mass with. Right? But 2 mass band up to now. Mine, since I come in now, this is 25 years to me. And the rest of the dragons. Carnival was more fun it all we together. And then remember nobody getting pay and thing, you know, it's a kind of love thing. And the fun in them days is to go and thief wire in the night. Because remember, it wasn't so mass, used to be wires, not like we go in and buy fiberglass. Everybody had to do. So we had to go thief veil neck wire in the night and all them kind of thing. Anyway, we see a roll of wire we got. So carnival was more kind of fun and togetherness and that kind of thing now. Wasn't no money. We cook every night and party because it wasn't no money in it. Wasn't no money in them time days. Well, like how it got commercial now. Now we selling mass now. So it got commercial now is money, investing money up front. In them days, you never used to invest no money up front. Right? And money was small because I remember my teacher, which was Roy Ralph, when he plays first king, he go by Harvey Williams by the bank and borrow $500 to play king. And when he win, he get $250. But say what the $250 wasn't the important part, you know. The important part was the amount of things you're getting from YD Lima, from Corey's, the amount of gift they used to give you.
T-shirt bands in St. Vincent started as an advertising band for businesses. When T-shirt band started, it was a matter where known established business in Kingston decided that they would use the Carnival Monday to showcase or market their brand, their business on the back of T-shirts, etc. So the original promoters of T-shirt bands were mainly owners and or managers of businesses. And I can call the names of few. We had Ricks, for example. He was Mr. Ricky Hillocks, known as Ricks. That was the name of his business. And he produced some of the largest t-shirt bands we saw in the early days. We also had Chippy Brown. He had a store, incidentally, 2 buildings away from Ricks. So you had Ricks and you had Chippy Brown. And his band was known as Chippies, okay, as he was commonly called. We also had Irvin Carr, who was the manager, owner, operator of JG & Sons, JG Agencies, and they produce a t-shirt band as well. Now, all these 3 businesses are located uptown. So, in the area of Sharp Street, you had Chippies, and you also had Ricky Hillocks, Ricks. And then in the Middle Street section, or close to up to Sharp Street side, you had JG & Sons. So, those 3 bands primarily started uptown. In addition to those 3, Touch had a band in later years, and they also started their band from uptown in the area of the customs and excise department. Right, they started their band from the area of the customs and excise department, again up street, close to the Sharp Street area. So basically you had like 4 big bands starting uptown.
Nobody would have cut up their t-shirts then. You preserve your t-shirt and you would wear it after Carnival, and that was the advertising value then. Also, Hillocks would have taken excursions to New York for Labor Day. So persons would have kept their t-shirts after Carnival was changed to June, July. Persons kept their t-shirts to go to Labor Day. Persons bought t-shirts just to send for friends in New York.
You saw a movement into musical bands producing their own t-shirt band. So you had Black Sun on the Road promoting their song, and you had Touch. We can call Touch having a number of large t-shirt bands in Kingston. At times they were unable to provide music themselves only for the band. They had to engage other bands. So you would have had 2 or 3 trucks on the road for a Touch Carnival Monday t-shirt band. We also had Beckett producing t-shirt band, and during that time mainly t-shirt bands shifted now to where they were being used. Carnival Monday was being used to push and promote songs for the road march competition. So Touch will be pushing their songs for the road, Black Sun doing likewise, etc. Beckett did also. Now, this went on for quite a while, and then it shifted again from musical bands after the bands start being less prominent in Carnival. You had a shift now to commercial enterprises, big companies now getting involved in Carnival Monday t-shirt band, because at one point there was no Carnival Monday band on the road. There was in the year 2000 there was no t-shirt band on Carnival Monday. Persons basically came in town, hang out, lime for a while, and one truck came up the road, Ace Kickers, Andrew Westfield of blessed memory. He came up town with his truck doing a song check for Tuesday Mass, and we had persons jumping behind that truck. That was the only truck that was on the road in that year.
At the end of the day, it was always about promoting something when it comes to Monday band and t-shirt band.
In 2019, Kinetic itself, the band, brought a t-shirt band in Carnival. But generally speaking, DJs, after that era with the live bands that produce their own band, DJs basically are the ones that provide the music on the road, except for the years when I would have had Kinetic or Signal on the road.
What you had happening now is that people tend to look more for the entertainment value and the drinks. So the modern day, if you're going to have a high road band, you'll find persons gravitating to the band because there's a lot of liquid. One of the bands that I missed out would have been the Green Machine, because I was leaving that for later, because the Green Machine came into existence because of this whole issue where the bands got so big and the whole what persons were looking for in terms of their satisfaction went to a different level. So Apostles were looking for the wild jump and wave when bands like the Brewery and Flow and so on got involved. So there was this niche that wanted a quieter and closer sort of enjoyment. For the t-shirt bands, I would like that the t-shirts be a bit more creative, with a better theme. It must be tied to, it could be tied to the song, to a song, for example. But I would like to see more creativity coming out in terms of the branding of the t-shirts and the color scheme.
I'm Willis Williams, a member of Touch, a band that has made a mammoth mark and a mammoth contribution to Vincy Mas. That band was started in 1984, 85, and we have been playing on and off as in the 90s, on and off. Up to today, we still do a gig per year for Vincy Mas. But we were major contributors in the 90s, early 90s, late 80s. We have under our belt a number of road match championships, a lot of other popular songs. We have some trophies. We toured extensively the world, I would say. We never got to Japan. I always wanted to do that. But we've had successful times. We've had success in terms of getting the Vincentian message out there, not necessarily monetary or anything. In those days, we weren't conscious enough to be doing this thing for the money. We were pretty much doing it for the fun and for what we could get out there in terms of our music. Naive youths, that's what you would have to say we were at the time. Yeah, of course, now the young people are a lot more progressive and a lot more serious about what they do and so on. It's a little more than just the love of music. It is really survival for some of them. They do it professionally.
I would say my first big band experience was with Black Sand, as back then known as the number one party band in the land. Of course, I caught the tail end of the band culture in St. Vincent and the Grenadines when fully functioning big bands were one of the most prominent features of Vincy Mas. You had Black Sand, Touch, Exodus, Signal, New Direction, and some other bands that were heavily featured in Vincy Mas, performing in and around Kingston. But I think I got the opportunity to perform with Black Sun in 2001 after having performed with some smaller bands on the hotel circuit, and that sort of led me to really fall in love with the soca music culture associated with Vincy Mas. But the last band I was officially a member of is HS Factor, which featured musicians such as Max Providence, Kamala Archibald, Franklin on Trobus, Chanel Mackenzie, Rayon Primus, otherwise known as Madzat. And going back before that, I would have spent some time in a different iteration of Black Sand, which would have been Hot Sand. And of course, it started when I was recruited as a frontline vocalist for Black Sand in 2001.
I think all of our songs were different in a way, and they all had their own individuality to them. Based on that, myself and Brian Alexander, Godfrey Ince, just Cherry, the bass guitarist, Godfrey Dublin, Colin King, Dings Johnson, Maxwell Porter. We decided that this is the direction we're going to take. We're going to be modern, We're going to do things that people have not seen, not heard. We're going to be sticking our necks out. We're going to be called names, but we're going to stick it out, and we're going to make a difference. And that is essentially the board of touch, and then what we had set out to do, which I think we had achieved, and we still live up to it. I think our legacy stands, and the music we produce is still valid today.
What I enjoyed most about the band culture in St. Vincent and the Grenadines was the at the time at least, the natural connection with the people. We took the music to the people, so the bands were always touring the islands, from Spotlight Stadium in Georgetown to Caribbean Shack in Barley to Union Island. Everywhere that there was a thirst for live music, we would run into each other. This week maybe Signal in Aquatic Club, and next week will be, Black Sun in Layou somewhere. And that natural connection with people wanting to hear live music and their favorite songs interpreted by local vocalists and local musicians was something that I always enjoyed. And seeing the reaction of hundreds and in many cases thousands of people at the various open venues that we would play was always very enjoyable for me. I think everything is a cycle, and eventually I don't believe that the thirst and the appetite for live music has gone anywhere. I think though that it as I mentioned, the advent of technology, which makes it cheaper, a lot cheaper to have DJs supply music, has had that impact on the staging and production of live band entertainment. But even when in this modern age, the audience, I sense that the audience still have an appreciation, because when you put them side by side, even in recent days, when you see a live band perform as opposed to just the artist with tracks, the audience reaction is different, markedly different, right? And so I think that there is room for the return of live bands. We just have to figure out a way to make it cost effective and probably to incorporate the technologies that allow for the economic side of it to be viable. And I think once the audience is primed and the promotion is right, we can see a return to those days of live music in St. Vincent and the Grenadines.
Being a promoter during Carnival is a hard task. It's a lot of persons on the outside feel that it's about making money, but it's not about that. It costs a lot to produce a quality event during Carnival season. And as you know, there are a lot of events on. You have to be strategic in when you schedule your event, because you don't want to compete with the true Carnival events, the events of the Carnival Development Committee put on for Carnival. You don't want to compete with other promoters. Well, I don't think that you should be competing with other promoters. You want to give your patrons quality. You want to do all of this with a cost that the patrons could afford comfortably. So it's not as easy as persons think to put the whole package and give the patron the experience. It's a bit more than we see, but it brings joy at the end of it to hear your patrons say, "Oh, I had a wonderful time. I owe you money because my experience was so much more than the cost that I paid." It was easy for us to put the package together because we had basically a lot of what was required to have the type of event that my sister as an event planner was able to put together. So persons asking for it, us having the resources, us thinking that, you know what, this event might help to complement what the CDC already has in a different type of experience was what brought it to light. The cancellation of Carnival was huge. It was huge.
H2O is obviously is water. It was, I think it was like the founding father of a lot of the current trend in wet fets. It wasn't always on the date that it's at now. It used to be a couple of weeks earlier, actually on the same night as when Skinny does Black Rave. It used to be on that night, and we used to do Insomnia on we used to do Insomnia on the night before Soca Monarch. Well, H2O is huge. H2O has I'm gonna guess around 30 to 40 local artists, plus DJs, plus some foreign artists. It's turned into a much bigger thing than what it originally it was designed as a wet fet. You know, it was meant to be a cheap and cheerful event. That was the original kind of concept of it. You know, it was. You may or may not remember, but back in the day, tickets never used to sell in advance. I think Hot 97 was perhaps one of the leaders in getting people to actually buy tickets in advance. And some of that came from, you know, price structuring. But I think the original area where it came from was I had done a show, or I was meant to have done a show, a Vibes Cartel show. It wasn't in Carnival. I was meant to have done a Vibes Cartel show for a guy in Trinidad. It wasn't my show. I was doing everything for him. And for whatever reason, it had to get cancelled. I think there was heavy weather or something. And I made a big announcement that, you know, you could come and collect your money on whatever the date was. And I think that was the turning point where after that, tickets used to sell in advance after that. Prior to that, you used to do, I would say, 80% of your ticket sales on the Friday, Saturday of the show. So the show was on Saturday. But the other reality in those days is that weather used to wash out shows. If you had rain on that final weekend, you were in trouble. You could literally lose tens, if not hundreds of thousands of dollars. And so H2O was the genesis of it was to try and get around that, because, you know, Carnival, it's always raining. The weather's pretty unpredictable during Carnival. So to get around that, we said, well, let's go with a kind of water content and try and get people into the water. So that way, if it rained, you wouldn't have any issues with a washout. Now, originally, it didn't work quite as planned because everybody came dressed up for the first couple. And it took a little while, and then I think we changed the style of the ads. They were originally humorous. And then we'd made a big thing about how people dress and all that kind of thing, you know, and we kind of made fun of it a little bit. And it slowly kind of changed the culture, and that people were, you know, more kind of beach-driven. You know, so that was like the genesis of H2O. Carnival has grown in St. Vincent. It's bigger than it used to be. Significantly bigger, I would say, than it used to be. There's more money being spent. I think people budget for Carnival differently than they used to. There's a bit more sponsorship available around Carnival time. The corporate St. Vincent tends to want to be a bit more involved. Carnival's important. Carnival is more important than I think we perhaps admit it to ourselves, and, you know, in society it's important. And my fear is that if we go on without Carnival for too much longer, you'll start losing a part of what's important to people.
yeah. Oh, yeah. So come massive, step up. Yes, I want you take a guess. My name start with an S, and I'll relieve your stress. Come party time, as I teach you to whine, and how to form a line, and how to get on bad for carnival. Who am I? Who am I? Who am I? Who am I? Well, I am the rhythm, I am the bass, I am the melody, I am the pace. I'll have you jumping morning till night. All of you walking up time after time. I am what I am, that I am who I am, yes I am. Soca, well everybody keep. I wanna see you, I wanna see you, I wanna see you higher, higher. I wanna see you, I wanna see you, I wanna see you higher. I am a tune. Sometimes I could be smooth, sometimes I could be rude, sometimes I could be good for making love. And when it comes to fact, it's I does make you sweat until your body wet from head to toe. Who am I? Who am I? Who am I? Who am I? Well, I am the rhythm, I am the bass, I am the melody, I am the pace. I'll have you jumping morning till night. All of you walking up time after time. I am what I am, that I am who I am, yes I am. Soca, well everybody keep. I wanna see you, I wanna see you, I wanna see you higher, higher.